11 through 15 of the top 20 most frequently asked questions about wholesaling houses by newbies. Stand by, let's get it. Hello guys, this is Ty, aka the Flip Man. 11 through 15 of the top 20 most frequently asked questions about wholesaling houses by newbies. As you may already know, and if you don't know, I've already done 1 through 10 through my normally weekly Flippinars, which the Flippinar format is changing. We'll just go straight to a question and answering period where I'll answer your questions and also analyze your deals. As long as you provide enough information about your deals, I'll give you my 2 cents on it. So, the Flippinars, flippinar.com, you can register and access on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. They are live right here on YouTube. So, number 11, let's get right into it. Number 11, do I need a title company? Meaning, do I need a title company whenever you're starting out? They say you need a team. And when I say they say, I mean gurus. I don't consider myself a guru. I'm just an old meathead with a hobby, sharing information that I think is valuable to you all. And I'm fortunate enough to make a little money off that also, besides doing deals, which is where I really make my living. So they say that you need a team. And what I mean by a team is title company, real estate agent, closing attorney, maybe a contractor. You have this team you need to actually wholesale. What I try to do, people, if you hadn't noticed, I try to simplify things, probably because I don't know any other way to do it. Hopefully, it comes across as being simple to you all also. But what I mean by that is those are barriers and roadblocks that are unnecessary starting out in this business. Because what will happen, and I have students, people that have paid me, and I stress it all the time, do not worry about title companies, and they still do it. Still will call a title company and ask them, do you all do assignments? Do you all do wholesale deals? Do you all do double closings? And they get answers that I told them they're going to get. Been doing this 14 plus years as a date of this video. Right now, as long as I've been doing it, if I call a title company that I've never done business with before, more than likely, if I ask those questions, do you do a wholesale deal, assignments, double close, they're going to probably tell me no, they don't know what I'm talking about. See, the issue with that is you don't know who you're getting on the phone. They may have never ever closed a deal like that before, and so your answers are going to vary. What you have to realize is that if you have a seller, motivated seller, you have it under contract, a great deal, you have a cash buyer ready to go. In most cases, your buyers are seasoned buyers. Not always, but in most cases, they're seasoned buyers and they already have those relationships built. And you just simply piggyback off those relationships. Some of this stuff I'm just saying over and over again, but everybody's not watching all my videos, so I may talk about this topic this time and it bleeds over into another topic. But so that's why I say don't worry about a title company, because even if it is a situation where your buyer's never done a deal before, but they do have cash, and obviously you've never done a deal before, it is a lot easier if you call the title company / closing attorney, depending on what state you're in. You can use either or. In some states you can only use an attorney or a title company. But whenever you call them and you actually have a deal in place and then ask them, well, can they close your deal that you have in place? Trust me, the response is going to be totally different, because now you have money on the table that can be made. They just need to understand what you're trying to do. And because cash is being used, it eliminates a lot of the issues that if a lender is involved. And on top of that, you're buying the property as is. This is one of those good problems. I'm not sure if you all or any of you all know about The Wire. It was a HBO series a few years ago, Marlo Stanberry said, which was one of the characters there, that's one of them good problems. That's one of those good problems if you get to the point that you just need someone to close your deal. So, do I need a title company? Basically when you're starting out is the question. No, you do not need a title company. Do not worry about that. Number 12, should I be working with a realtor? That's part of that team that we were talking about. In my opinion, no. Years ago, it was probably to your advantage because of MLS and the information that can be provided. Not that MLS doesn't have some valuable information, but there's enough free information out there as far as evaluating properties, finding deals through realtors. If you want to go that route, that you don't actually need your own agent. What you have to understand is that if you're, well, one of the things I get this from non-students and students, they're so excited. I met this real estate agent today. They can say they can send me deals, blah, blah, blah. They're not doing anything special. All of these properties that are on MLS, they're advertised everywhere. Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, you name the authority site on real estate, and those sites have those same properties available. You know why? Because realtors use those same sites to promote their listings. When they go on it, when it goes on MLS, they post it in a lot of situations. It automatically posts on those sites, or a couple of those sites anyway, depending on the agent. But they all put them there because it gives them additional exposure on their listings. Remember, an agent, even if you want to work with an agent, you're already injecting someone else with their hand out. All right, and what I mean by that, they have a family to feed, they have bills just like you do. Never think that they don't have their personal interest at heart first. So if you're going to target properties that are listed, which that's a whole nother video in itself, which I do already have a couple of those here on my YouTube channel, contact the listing agent. If you don't know what that means, that simply means the agent that actually is promoting or marketing the property for their client, which is the owner of the property. The reason you do that is simple. You give them an opportunity to make 100% commission, because agents have to split commission. If you had your own agent and you approached a listing agent, or your agent approached a listing agent, which your agent is called a buyer's agent, approached a listing agent about a property, then now they have to split the commission 50-50. And that doesn't even include what the listing agent has to split with their broker if they're not an actual broker themselves. So you use that to your advantage, and you contact the agent, the listing agent directly, and give them an opportunity to make 100%. Not saying this will guarantee your deal to get accepted, but it increases your chances greatly, because they have an opportunity to actually probably make more money than they were going to make anyway, even if they sold it at full price, their full listing price at that time. So if you contact 8 out of 10 agents right now, just pick up the phone randomly and just ask the simple question, can I wholesale houses through you? Or can you send me a list of houses that I can wholesale? They're going to probably ask you, what are you talking about? As a matter of fact, I'm confident of that they're going to ask you, what are you talking about? Because they don't know. Once you educate yourself on wholesaling, you know more than 80, I'm going to say it's really probably about 95%, but I use the 8 out of 10, which is 80%. It's really probably about 95% or more than what most agents know. Because if you explain wholesaling to them, it sounds a lot like what they do, but it's not. Sounds like a lot what they do, and they go, oh, you need a license for that, you're illegal. And then some of them even get just real aggressive with you. I'm going to report you to blah, blah, but they don't know what they're talking about. So, should I be working with a realtor? Not as your own agent, but if you're targeting listed properties, just deal directly with the listing agent. So that's not your realtor. You're just dealing with the agent that has the listing of the property that you're targeting. So should I be working with a realtor? No, in my opinion. Now, let me back up on that. Before I just say flat out no. There are some savvy realtors out there, and they understand volume, and they can send you deals those are hard to come by. So I don't want to just close the door on realtors, but understand that it's very few of them that's going to understand that they can make a lot of money with you based on volume versus versus that one time. That their mindset is just totally different from you as a wholesaler. So understand that. So I'm not going to say totally no, but it's difficult to find an agent that'll work with you on a wholesale level. So we'll just leave it open like that. So number 13, what contract should I use? I'm not an attorney, first of all, but I do understand this because I've been advised by a 30-year real estate attorney, right? The real estate attorney, and that's all he's ever done. He's not one of these one of these attorneys that takes on anything that comes their way. Basically like a general doctor that you go to that handles colds, broken arms and stuff like that, just general stuff. They specialize, just like a doctor can specialize and be an eye doctor. Or they specialize in real estate, and that's all this particular attorney has done, which he's retired now, but that's all the thing he's ever done. So a contract, there's no standard contract for a transaction. Now, each state is going to have a couple of things that may apply to that state in general, but in reality, if a seller and yourself, and because you're buying it as is, but if a seller and yourself sit down at their kitchen table or on the hood of their car or your car and write out a contract, seller is Mr. Seller, buyer is you, the wholesaler, address of the property, 123 Main Street, price, buying as is, we'll close by this date. That's an actual contract in reality. Now, obviously, you get a lot more detail because most real estate agents or realtor contracts for a particular state, they're a minimum of 10 pages. Now, I use just a one-page contract that you all know that I give away free, right? You know, you see it here on the screen, but I give that away. I give that actually away free, and it's being used all over the country because once you interject just a cash transaction as the actual source of funding the deal, that takes a lot of stuff off the table. I don't care if it's commercial, if it's residential, whatever. And then if you're at the buyer, meaning you the wholesaler, you're going to buy it as is, that really eliminates a lot of the issues or the clauses or terms that within a normal realtor's contract. So what contract should I use? Now, obviously, I'll recommend my contract for the simple wholesale transaction on residential properties, but you don't have to use it. You can literally go to an Office Depot or Staples. Most time they have those standard real estate contracts at those locations, and a lot of times they're state specific, but they're more than one page. You can use those, but there's so many contracts out there online that you can download free. Just take advantage of them. Again, you can use my contract if you would like, but there's no standard contract is what I'm trying to say. So what contract should I use? Go with what you're comfortable with. If you need to seek an attorney, you want to pay that fee, which I think is basically unnecessary because normally they're just going to print something off and charge you $500 to $1,000 for it. But you have to go with what you're comfortable with. The only thing I can tell you is that the contract that I give away for free is being used all over the country. And as I say, you can see right here on the screen how you can access that. So what contract should I use? Totally going to be up to you and what you're comfortable with. Who pays closing costs? Well, when someone texts me about a property and a price, they ask me, is the price negotiable? And I always reply back, everything is negotiable. Same thing with closing costs. Now, normally, your buyers pay closing costs, normally. But in situations, I've paid all the closing costs. And sometimes I paid half, or I dedicate a certain amount towards closing costs. An example, I may be making, we'll just say, $11,000 on the deal, and the buyer says, hey, can you pay $500 toward closing costs? No hesitation. I'm going to say yes. I'm not going to allow $500 to prevent me from making $10,000 $500, which that's subtracting from the $11,000 that I would have made. So, you know, I'm not going to lie. So if the closing cost was $1,500 in this same example, and he said, well, you pay all closing again. And especially if he's someone that's closing fast, he's going to be buying multiple properties, or I feel that way. And instead of me making $11,000, I subtract $1,500, I make $9,500. I'm not going to allow $1,500 to prevent me from making $9,500. So boom. So who pays closing costs? Normally your buyers. And the reason that they're doing that is because they are getting a deal. So it's really that simple. That's normally how it goes. But remember, be flexible. Everything is negotiable. Number 15, should I assign or double close? Both work, people. As you know me, if you watched any number of my videos, you understand that both of these methods work. All right, so should I assign or double close? I'm going to say you could do both. It's going to be totally up to you. Most people will double close because they're afraid of the seller and or the buyer knowing how much they make. Sellers don't care. Normally they don't even know what's happened. Buyers may care, but if a buyer cares, that's someone I don't want to deal with anyway. It's not the only buyer out there. Now, sometimes maybe the only buyer you have for that deal, that's fine, but you want buyers that want to buy from you over and over again. That should always be your goal. So, should you assign, should you double close? Again, you go with what you're comfortable with. I say it's not necessary to double close. The only time I've done a double close, it was by mistake. They thought I wanted that, meaning the title company, but that's not what I wanted. So sellers, again, they don't care. Everybody's happy on closing day. The buyers, they already know before we get to the closing table that you're assigning it just from the husband, because they're going to normally get a preview of it before they even show up to closing, because normally the title company or closing attorney likes to email them a copy of it, number one, so they'll know how much money to bring to the closing table, and then also that everything is okay as far as the fees being applied, closing costs, and so on. So again, assignment versus double closing. Should I assign or double close? I'm going to always assign if that's an option. I'm not opposed to double closing, but I don't see a need for it, because again, sellers generally don't even know what's going on. Not they're just taking advantage of, they're getting what they agreed to get to. But even if they did ask the question, which that has happened, they know you're not doing this for free. What is an appropriate amount of money for you to make? Who makes that call? So they don't care. And if a buyer does care, we may close a deal, but that would probably be the last deal I close with them, because I don't want to deal with buyers concerned about the money that I make. Because if we've agreed on a price, and then they find out later, well, they will find out later how much I actually made, they were comfortable with the price that we agreed upon. That's the only thing that should matter. I could have it on the contract for $1, but wholesaling it for $75,000. It shouldn't matter, because they're going to make what they're going to make. The $75,000 work for them. So again, should I sign a double close? Go with what you're comfortable with. I personally don't see a need in most cases, not just to simply do an assignment of contract. So again, here's 11 through 15. I'll get 16 through 20 coming soon. Remember, Flippinars on Thursday nights, flippinar.com, live question and answering period. I'll analyze your deals as long as you have enough information for me to analyze. Remember the 200 plus videos I have right here on YouTube. Oh, don't forget about flipmanpodcast.com, where you can access these videos, probably the same video here in podcast format. I know some people like to use that as a format of actually listening to videos or just audios through their actual podcast. So flipmanpodcast.com for Apple and for Android product, you can get access there. If you're on the Apple product, just go to the iTunes store, do the search for the Flipman. With Android, just go to Stitcher or download the app if you don't already have it, and do a search for the Flipman, and boom, you'll see my actual podcast. I'm trying to get as much of my content up there as possible over time. So again, check it out at flipmanpodcast.com. So thanks for watching this video. I hope it helps. 16 through 20 will be coming soon, and I'll see you on the flip side.